What's going on, everybody? My name is Ben and welcome back to the bench for another episode of our N1 Royal Starfighter here on Sci-Fi Wednesdays. We're going to go ahead and finish off this kit today because there is a deadline for this. I want to go ahead and enter it into the Star Wars 2023 HLI group build. I need to get this done. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to finish off this kit. We're going to finish off the base, get everything assembled. We're just going to see how it turns out. So let's go ahead and jump right on in, guys. We got a lot of work to do on the nacelles, on the engines. We need to get those lights all figured out. Need to go ahead and clean up some seams. Need to do some filing, get some sanding. I want to, of course, build up the base and figure out what we need to do for that. Get the canopy masked off, get the canopy installed. And well, we're just going to see how we do. And hopefully this turns out. So onward to the first time lapse, guys. Let's jump on in there. Let's have some fun. Let's do some seam cleanup. All right, everybody, so we are back and the N1 is coming right along. It's actually looking pretty good. We've got everything sanded down. The seams are okay. The ones on the undersurface are a little rougher, but the ones above, well, those are fine. You're not going to see the undersurface anyway, so it's all good. We're going to switch over now, though, to the base. I want to go ahead and start doing some work on that. I actually used EVA foam, and I've traced out a cool little pattern I picked out of my references. So we hit it with the heat gun, and it opened up all those panel lines. So now we're going to jump and redo some painting, and I want to use a lot of different colors and paints here, from blues and purples and grays, just really make this look kind of alien. So let's get back in there, guys. Let's get some pre-shade going. Let's do some painting and hit it with a clear coat. All right, everybody, we are back, and that was so much fun to paint up that base. The EVA foam was primed and it held paint beautifully. I was able to do a bunch of different techniques, got that pre-shade in there as well, so have all those lines kind of showing through. I absolutely love how it turned out. Now, just in case you're wondering, I used a whole handful of paints. I used copper, I used bronze, I used gold. I used a steel red color, which is absolutely phenomenal looking. I love it. I also used some smoke blue, one of the clear colors. Very, very cool. I even used purple and some chrome silver. So I went ahead and just mixed and matched paints and then overcoated the entire thing with German dark gray. And I think that really nicely kind of blended it. So I love it. We are good to move on. And by moving on, we're going to go ahead and scratch build some form of sci-fi accessory. I don't know what you really want to call it, but the N1 needs a little bit of some extra interest there on the base. I've got the ship, I've got the boarding ladder, but I also want to have something else to kind of draw some attention to it. So we're going to go ahead and just use whatever parts we can find. And a big shout out to Joe for giving me all of these parts he didn't want. We're going to go ahead and kind of sift through here. We're going to find some parts and pieces. We're just going to have fun, use a little bit of artistry in there and see if I can't come up with something right out of the blue. So let's get back in there, guys. Let's go ahead and build up some cool, funky sci-fi stuff, and then we'll see how we do. All right, guys, we are back and we did a lot of scratch building. We built a really cool little accessory there. I don't know what it is, but you know what? I can say it's a generator or it's an engine of some sort or some sort of refueling station. It looks cool and I had a blast building it. So I'm actually pretty good with whatever you want it to be. That's what it is. But now we're going to go ahead and move back over to the base and to the N1. As you see here, the base is looking pretty snazzy. I love all the different colors and the subtle shifts and whatnot. So that is awesome. But we need to figure out where to put the N1. So I'm thinking somewhere right about here. And I think that's going to be kind of an interesting look to it. Plus it'll give us some room on the sides for accessories and whatnot. So this is where we're going to go ahead and place it. Let's go ahead and get our punches out and we can punch through the top layer. Like I mentioned, we're going to use our punch. We're just going to choose about a 6mm punch. Technically we should use a 7mm, but A, I don't have one, and B, I want it a little bit on the tighter side so that it won't move around too much and will hold a position while I glue it. So first things first, we're going to open up a nice 6mm hole here in the EVA foam. And then once that is done, we're going to grab our hobby knife. We're going to score out the undersurface of it, and we're just going to drill it out using a drill bit and just our hands. This is not thick wood, so it should go through really, really easily. So let's go ahead and do that, and then we can move on to the next accessory. Now moving right along, guys, we're going to shift our attention over to the boarding ladder, one of the other accessories that we've got for this little diorama. What we're going to do is we're going to take that ladder and we're actually going to add handrails out of copper wire. The first thing we're going to go ahead and do, though, I learned this from Boyline Hobbies, we're going to go ahead and twist this wire up so it actually becomes much more rigid and far less prone to curling up on itself. That'll make me actually gluing it down to the plastic ladder a whole lot easier. So let's go ahead and just chuck it into one end of our pin vise. We're just going to hold the other end against my second set of hands here. And then we're just going to twist the wire till it gets nice and rigid. And we can go ahead and take it, bend it, cut it, and get it ready for some handrails. Like I said, we're going to make 4 different handrails, 2 up on the very top of the platform, and then 2 running down the side of the ladder itself. So let's go ahead and start gluing some parts down. We've got the 2 top handrails already in place. We glued those down. I tried to match them up as best as I could, so I think they're pretty close. We're going to go ahead and now glue on the side rails. And again, same process. A little bit of super glue, bent the wire at a 45-degree angle at the bottom. We're going to just hold it where we need it to go. And once we're good and happy with the position, we're going to grab a little bit of accelerator, dab some accelerator right onto that area, making sure it locks it in nice and tight. And then we can bend it, we can position it, and glue it down to the upper portion. It's actually really fun here, guys. I love making things like this. And this is actually an old boarding ladder off of an A4 Skyhawk. I just had it in my spares box and it works perfectly for this application. So moving right along, guys, let's jump back into the N1. We want to do some major work there on the engines and the nacelles. And I want to go ahead and install something that could keep the finials locked in the very center of these engines. And I've actually had a subscriber give me a great idea, and that is to use clear styrene to go ahead and act as a support. It won't block light. It'll be thick enough to go ahead and hold onto the finial. And also, since it'll be plastic, I can use regular modeling glue on it and it should hold in place. So let's go ahead and jump back in there. We're going to get the nacelles finished up. We're going to get those finials ready to go. We're going to sand. We're going to prime. I'm going to go ahead and use a yellow paint by Gunzi. So I want to go ahead and first overcoat everything with Mr. Surfacer. Then we're going to come in with some white because it's a lot easier painting yellow over white than it is painting yellow over gray. After that's all done, we're going to mask up everything, get the all-clad on there, use some black basing, use some all-clad chrome to give it that nice metal sheen. And then we'll be back and do a little bit of extra painting, and I think we'll be ready to go and see how we turn out. All right, let's keep it going, guys. We're getting there. All right, so we are back and we're doing a little bit of touch-up paint here on one of our accessories here that we have for the diorama. I'm just adding in a little bit of some paint on the wires and just giving a little bit of dry brushing. I'll add in a little bit of Tamiya panel liner too to make it look a little greasy. And I think we're ready to go ahead and finish off the final stages of painting for the N1. So let's go ahead and do up the last little bits here. Let's get the decals on. Let's install it into the base, solder up all the wires, and then we'll be back with a finished N1 Starfighter. Ooh, fingers crossed, guys, we can get this wrapped up. All right, everybody, we are back. And after quite a bit of time here on the bench, we have finally finished our N1. And I gotta tell you, I am super happy with how this has turned out. It's probably one of the best sci-fi Star Wars model kits I have done recently. And this is it, guys. As you can see, we've got the N1 mounted down to the base. We've got a boarding ladder there on the side of the hull. We did a little bit of post shade with some flat black just to add a little bit of extra spice to it. I ended up using Mr. Color Yellow Orange to go ahead and get that nice yellow color. And then, of course, we had the all-clad there as well for the chrome. Get you a close-up here, you can see it isn't necessarily the most detailed exterior hull, but I left a couple panel lines here and there. I did a little bit of weathering with a very thin mixture of flat black, much like I have done on my other natural metal finishes. I think it looks pretty cool. I didn't want to go too heavily weathered though, because most of the images that I have seen for the N1s, they're pretty clean. They're highly sought after and very well taken care of. So I didn't want to make this thing look all disheveled and chipped and broken. I wanted it to be clean, crisp, like a thoroughbred. So I think this is a really interesting looking paint scheme. It's really striking against that gray background. I absolutely love it. Now I did end up finishing the accessories. As you can see here, we've got this lovely cart, and this is actually from my F-86 Sabre kit that I built not too long ago. It's modified, yes, but that is what it actually is. It's the engine cart for that particular aircraft. And this is our amalgamation of just a bunch of parts and pieces. We've got a fuel tank from a JS2. We've got an engine block, I think out of some random V8. We've got an oil pan. We've got a periscope off a KV1. We added in a ton of wires. We painted those wires, different colors, different sizes. We tried to make it look a little bit more practical, even though I don't really know what it's designed to do. It's just kind of a fun thing to have on the base. Get you a couple of stills. You can see it is a really, really striking color scheme with the yellow, the silver, and then that kind of muted gray with all those different subtle colors in that base. I am super happy with how this has turned out. Plus, we do have lights. We've got the engine lights and we've got the cockpit lights, and those turned out to be really, really fun and actually pretty bright. But that is it, guys. We have finally finished our AMT 1/40th scale Naboo Royal Starfighter, one of my favorite ships out of the entire Star Wars series, prequels, original series, and sequels. Such an interesting, such a sleek, thoroughbred looking race car of a ship, and I absolutely love the coloring and everything about it. So I hope you guys enjoyed coming along for the journey. The main thing is I actually made it into the deadline for the 2023 HLI Star Wars group build, so I am super excited about that. I'm going to go ahead and get this video rendered up. Take a little bit of time off here, guys, just to make sure that we've got something good coming at you. So until our next episode, you know the drill. Go out there, get yourself some bench time, have some fun, build something cool. I will see you back here on the next episode of Sci-Fi Wednesdays. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you soon.